What if I told you that AI did something in one night that would take a penetration tester or ethical hacker probably weeks to come up with? No, it wasn't anything theoretical. It was fully working exploits, all done with zero human input, all done overnight. It's kind of scary and sounds like something that you would see in a sci-fi movie, right? No, this actually happened about a week ago when Anthropic announced that it came up with a new model called Claude Mythos. And this Claude Mythos is having the cybersecurity world in a frenzy. It is changing the way we think about cybersecurity, whether you're a business owner, a threat actor, or someone like myself who does this for a living. I'm Trent with Visual Torch, where cybersecurity meets clarity, and in this video, we'll be going over Claude Mythos, what it is, what it did, and 3 questions it is going to raise depending on which side of the conversation you're on. So let's get into this video. On April 7th of this year, Anthropic, the company behind Claude AI, the Claude Codeworks or the Claude Code, announced they had been secretly working on their latest model to date, and they dubbed it Claude Mythos Preview. But this wasn't your typical announcement of a product. Something strange happened. Anthropic announced it, and then immediately they said they're not interested in releasing this to the public. Let's think about that for a second. Why would a company as big as Anthropic, that has this huge momentum with the way Claude is being utilized, say that we've come out with our most powerful model to date, but it's too powerful to put out? Well, the answer lies into the rest of the press release that they came up with. So Claude Mythos Preview was just a general purpose model. It was never trained on anything cybersecurity related, but Anthropic found out that it had advanced coding and reasoning skills, and they thought it would be perfect for the security landscape. So instead of releasing it to the public, they decided to form a coalition that they called Project Glasswing, and it included some of the biggest companies you can think of. You had your Apples, your Googles, JP Morgan and Chase, NVIDIA. All of them were part of this Project Glasswing. And what Anthropic did was they released Claude Mythos Preview to them for them to use. And they would go ahead and test Claude Mythos Preview against their own infrastructure and software. So the reason that they did this is because if you start thinking about these big name companies, they're using all types of global infrastructure as well as global software around the world. And Anthropic thought, hey, if we can figure out exactly what's going on in our code first, adversaries and threat actors will not be able to have the advantage of using AI against us. So this was actually a concentrated defensive response to a threat that they thought would have global impact on all global infrastructure. Let me just put some of the numbers in perspective for you. When Claude Mythos Preview was ran through by Project Glasswing, they found thousands of zero-day vulnerabilities. What a zero-day vulnerability is it is a vulnerability that exists when a software or infrastructure hardware gets shipped out that no one knows about. It's unknown. They did their scanning, they did their testing, and they never knew it existed. So when the code or the software goes out, it's just ready to, there's an exploit in there ready to use. So they found thousands of these. They even found one in a product called OpenBSD. And what's shocking about it, it was a 27-year-old zero-day that was just living around. OpenBSD is one of the most security-hardened operating systems for critical infrastructure known in the world. We've been shipping this out for years and saying this has been great, it's been fine, it's passed every test, every security review. We've thrown our best hackers at it, and they've never found this vulnerability. Then there was one that was about 16 years old in FFmpeg, which is an encoder and decoder software that is used. 16 years, that's been shipped out as well. So you can just see how fast and how advanced Claude Mythos really is, how scary it can be if it landed in the wrong hands. Anthropic researchers, actually, they had no security experience, prompted Claude Mythos to find a remote code execution exploit. They went to bed, woke up in the morning, and it found it. They wrote one for it, created it so they can export it. There was just one prompt. There was nothing else that was said, no technical expertise needed. They just prompted it and pointed it and found what they needed. Along with finding these exploits, they've been able to do things like solve capture the flag, expert level competitions that previously no model could. In 2025, there was no model that could solve some expert level capture the flags. When they sent Claude Mythos to it, it had about a 73% hit rate on it. So just think about this. This is not just something coincidental. This is a significant and paramount shift into how we think about cybersecurity and securing ourselves. If you're a business owner, I want you to think about a few things and understand it. One is that cybersecurity is no longer just IT's responsibility. It is a business responsibility that everyone has to buy in, from the C-level suite on down. The second thing is that the threat landscape has completely changed, not just gradually, overnight. When an exploit was originally discovered, there's a window. There's a discovery, then it moves onto weaponization, and it moves into actively being exported in the wild. That window has been collapsing for a long time. In 2018, it was thought of that it takes about 771 days to go from discovery to exploitation. In 2024, it's about 6 hours. But now in 2026, they're thinking it can happen in under 1 hour. And that is frightening. What we need to stop doing is we need to stop just thinking about, hey, did we run our annual penetration test or our quarterly security review? Those are just point in time assessments. So it gives you a snapshot of your security posture at that point in time. So if you have it 1 year and don't have it again until the next year, there's a gap that's happening between there. And you have a blind spot as things get introduced into your networks, your systems, and that's where attackers can live. So we need to shift from did we pass our assessment to the mindset of, can we detect and respond to something we may not have thought about existed yesterday? It's scary, I know. I don't mean to scare you, but that is just how we need to shift our mindset toward our security posture. Let me talk about another side of this, one that really has the cybersecurity world talking. It's the fact that even though Anthropic is not making Mythos publicly available, these AI models are advancing at a rapid rate, and the capabilities are astonishing. What would happen if a Mythos level model were able to get into the wrong hands? And if it is, someone who is an attacker now has a advanced level capability. Historically, when we think of threat actors, we think about state-sponsored threat actors, such as the Chinese, the Iranians, Russians, things like that. They have APT groups that have significant resources, very, very skilled and expert level hackers, and great security researchers that can find a bunch of things we never knew existed. And the great thing that they're able to do with all of this knowledge and expertise, not great for us, great for their engagements, is they're able to take different vulnerabilities within a system and chain them together to create a very, very rare attack path. So now with the release of a Mythos class model, if that gets into the wrong hands, someone who's not as experienced, say a script kiddie, someone who's just taking the actual lines of code, maybe posting it in, not really thinking about how these attacks would affect, and just want to point out a system and see, they're now able to do things that a nation state level attacker could do. And this isn't just theory. We're seeing them use AI models in the wild now. Anthropic actually caught a Chinese-sponsored attack group using a publicly available version of Claude to go after about 30 tech companies, which they were successful until they got caught. Not Mythos, a publicly accessible model. That's just the environment we're living in right now. So we, not mean to scare you, but we need to really just think about what can happen if it ends up in the wrong hands. Let me give you a perspective that I don't think a lot of people are considering when we're talking about this topic. What does this mean for people like me, the penetration tester, the ethical hacker whose profession is to simulate exactly what an adversary would do so that defenders can get better? A lot of us are asking the question, will AI replace us as penetration testers? The short answer is no, but my long answer is a little bit more intricate than that. Mythos has changed the landscape of penetration testing. It has raised the bar of what a quality engagement looks like. Theoretically, if a client is able to purchase a Mythos class model, point it at their system, get all their list of vulnerabilities and CVEs, what they need is something that the model can't provide, something a human can provide. They need the judgment. They need the storytelling. They need someone to say, hey, this is what it looks like for an adversary to attack your specific business with your specific regulatory compliances, those things that are nuanced to you. You need to be able to tell that story and give that context. When it comes to Mythos, it does a great job at looking at the source code and finding the vulnerabilities that exist. But penetration testing is not a code review. It's not a code audit. It is a adversarial simulation of the people, the processes, and all those things to be able to tell the story of what will happen if an attacker gets in. So we need to tell better stories when it comes to our actual engagement. The penetration tester that is not thinking about how they can incorporate AI within their workflow, within their engagement, is the penetration tester that's going to be left behind. So some practical steps that we can take when we're reframing our mind about our penetration testings and our engagements is we need to be able to tell a better story in our findings with how we can chain these exploits together. Mythos is able to chain those exploits together. Why can't we just get better at chaining these exploits and telling that story and really painting that picture for what we need? And what we also need to do is we need to educate our clients that just because they have a clean penetration test report doesn't mean that they're good to go. It's just a snapshot. It is a point in time assessment, and that we need to have continuous monitoring. And that way we can use AI in these instances to continually assess what is going on. I know we went over a lot with these 3 questions, our perspectives, but here are some key takeaways. For the business owners, we want to make sure that we're having serious discussions with our partners, our security teams, about our patch cadences and our detection capabilities. How quickly can we patch something, but also make sure we securely do it without taking down our systems? And how can we implement continuous monitoring and we can quickly detect and respond if something new pops up? For those of us trying to navigate the threat landscape, we need to realize that our attackers that are coming after our specific industries are gaining capabilities at a rapid pace. It's no longer just nation state sponsored attackers that are coming after us. Some of these people with less expertise or resources are able to do kind of the same thing. For the security professionals like myself, we need to just stay on top of the technology that's coming out. With AI, we need to understand what it does because our adversaries aren't going to wait for us to catch up. But we also need to realize how we can utilize it in our everyday job responsibilities. But we also need to realize the value that we bring as a human in the loop, our judgment, our context, our business knowledge. Mythos is not the end of the cybersecurity profession. It's just forcing it to evolve. For the business owner, it's creating a sense of urgency. For the defender, it's raising the bar. And for the security professionals like myself, it's letting us realize that that window between a vulnerability being discovered to being weaponized is shrinking at a rapid pace. Project Glasswing was the right call in putting this capability in the defensive hands so we can stay ahead of everything and try and patch and get our critical infrastructure up to date. That's a great temporary solution, but it's not permanent. A real great solution is making sure we have a security posture that assumes the landscape is ever changing and evolving, because it is. If you found this video helpful, do me a favor, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you are a business owner, or you know a business owner, or a very important stake share owner that hasn't heard about these things, go ahead and share it with them. I really hope that these type of conversations leave just a cybersecurity circle and make it to the boardrooms where we can have some real impact. I'm Trent with Visual Torch, where cybersecurity meets clarity. Stay safe out there.